Ladies and gentlemen, the eagle has landed.
Let's go.
Dude, you've been non-stop today.
I know. It's been good.
It's been great. What are you doing? Are you home in Austin or where are you at?
Yeah, I'm in Austin. I'm gonna be running up in north in Central Texas the next couple of days.
Amazing. Like Waco, that area, or whereabouts?
Yeah, like Killeen, Waco, like that central hub right there.
Awesome, awesome, fantastic, Calvin. Well, I know that you've been non-stop today. It's already 7 p.m. in Austin, so you probably want to like get up of your seat and then I don't know, go stretch your legs. So I'm going to try to keep this one as simple as and fun as possible, and fast as well. So let's get us started here, Calvin. I'm first of all, thank you so much for joining me today on the second episode of Challenge with Pancho. For you to a couple of things for you to expect. I'm gonna ask a couple of questions about your past, what are you doing right now, and then a little bit about challenging yourself, your team, your clients to understand a little bit of that as well. But I have a couple extra questions that some people also sent me earlier that I want to know from you. So I'm looking forward to see how you can handle that. We're ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, let's do it. So, Calvin Wright, I know that you had the honor of serving this amazing country. First of all, thank you so much for your service. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background before Family First Life and how you found this opportunity.
Absolutely. So, a little bit about me. I did 7 years in the Army, and then I got out during the middle of COVID, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go. I took a job at this huge corporation as a production super at this meat facility. Hated it, did not like it at all. And I always saw Zach Trudowski on posting on social media about, making all this money. And I was kind of like, just caught my eye and I was curious about it. So I reached out to him and I was like, hey, what is this? How do I get involved? And, how does it work? And he explained to me how, we go out and help people and how it works. And I was like, well, I set a goal for myself. If I can make 16 grand in the first 2 weeks, I'll quit my full-time job that I was making like 70,000 plus a year and go full-time doing this. So that was the goal from day one. And I went out there and I, wrote like 16, I think my first couple of weeks, I think it was like total like 30 something grand. And I issued paid like 16 grand, like the first couple of weeks. And so that was like a game changer. I didn't go back to work and I just, continued on with this. And I picked up and moved back to Texas and just been grinding it out since.
Amazing. And then let me ask you about something, Calvin. You're saying a couple months ago. When was exactly a couple months ago that you actually started with FFL?
Yeah, so I went my first full month was April, but my like when I started was in March. Really, I started in March, and then I obviously took some time to move, so I took like a whole week off to move. So I did work 3 weeks in March, and then my full first month was April.
Fantastic. So we're talking about 6 months into this brand new business. Do you had any in your previous role after the Army, right? Do you had any sales? Like, was it sales related, or do you have any backgrounds in sales? You had to learn some of that. What was it like?
I had no sales experience at all. I just joined the Army right out of high school at 18 and went in there for 7 years. And then it was mostly leadership positions, and then went straight out of the Army into a production supervisor position. Zero sales at all. Just know how to talk to people, It's like
Very good, very good. So yeah, that is incredible, Calvin, because of course, like you come from a complete different industry, serving the country, doing something completely different to 100% sales. But it's not just sales; it's helping families, helping people find, the what they need, right, and help protect them. So if you had to define your job at Family First Life, how would you define it?
the way that I would define my job would be helping individuals of the middle class America secure their finances and legacies to their generations below them, so that basically, that's how I would describe it to someone else. Like, hey, my job is to go out there and help them secure their family's, lineage, to make sure that nobody, their sons, daughters, grandkids are not going into a financial burden whenever they pass away. One, biggest piece. And two, protecting any equity in their biggest assets they may have, which is like home loans and stuff like that. So I think serving people would be like the number one thing that we do.
Very good. So we spoke about this with Andy last week, and the whole process. Of course, we all like define what we do very similarly. And I know that for you, it's not just going there and seeing 100 people, as many people as you see, but you actually do take some pride in like actually putting the right protection there in place for the families that you see, and that's a big difference about when you start caring about the family and not the sale. That's a huge part of this business, right? So tell me a little bit about something that I heard recently from both Zach and Easton is that 50 is the new 30, they call it, right?
Yeah.
And I know that that one is interesting because back into you were not even part of Family First Life, but earlier in the year when we had the national convention, everyone was talking about the 30 appointments a week and how would that help you get hit Hall of Fame, which is about $400,000 in coverage and basically you should pay business in a calendar year. And but where did these 50 appointments a week came in? When did it came in? And tell me a little bit about it. When was the first time you attempted it? What were the challenges? How do you set yourself up? And I know I'm gonna have other questions, but let's start with that.
Yeah. So there's a dude named Shadi who writes like 50K a week or something like that, something crazy. And I always see that he's running, a crazy amount of appointments, like he's 30 plus every week, but he's submitting big numbers. So I got the idea that if we just did 10 extra appointments or 20 extra appointments, what would it look like? Or how consistent would you become? And so I was talking with Brian and a couple other guys about like, let's just do, or Jesse too. I was like, let's just do 10 more appointments, or let's do 20, 15 more appointments through the week, like power weekends and big run weeks, and see what we actually come out doing, if it's actually worth it. So what we started doing was doing these power weekends, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 10, 10, 10, or or you can dial on Sunday and do 10, 10, 10, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and just do these huge big weeks of a lot of appointments. And what I've come to find out is no matter how good or bad you are, you're guaranteed gonna sell 25% of the people you sit with. So if you run 40 appointments, and you sit, with half and you sell 25%, like there's no way you can't sell. There's no way that you can't submit 10K worth of business, hands down. So that was the goal, is to try to bump it up to get up in those like 15 to 20K submit weeks to push through any chargebacks and overcompensate to try to hit this Hall of Fame deal. That's the biggest thing that we're trying to push right now, is trying to get that Hall of Fame in the short period of time. So we're trying to just double the numbers.
That's incredible. So as I mentioned before, Hall of Fame is, for the people who don't know, is hitting about $400,000 in a calendar year. So I believe that you're in track for that, Calvin. Like how much do you need to hit that? And you're already 6 months in only.
Yeah, I need, I'm at this week, the year to date, I'm at 300,000. So I need 100,000 more.
You need 100,000 more, and that's
Yeah.
it, man. You're totally gonna hit it. I'm so proud of you. Hopefully everything keeps aligning the right way, doing the same thing, right? So very good. So how many times were you able to do 50 appointments a week or more? Because I know that it's probably not sustainable doing that, running that many appointments every single week in the month. But then, as you mentioned, choosing a particular weekend, we know that this weekend we're going to hit the 50 and or something like that. How do you go about strategizing when to do it? How many leads you probably need to get in advance in order to have that many appointments to hit 50 appointments in a week?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is going to be lead flow. And I would say if you have 500 leads, you can set 10% of those, which would be about 50 appointments, plus or minus a couple, depending on, how you work them. So when I strategize 50 appointments a week or 40 appointments a week, I'm just taking the number of leads I need and just multiplying it by 10%. So I know how many appointments I need. So I'm buying 400 to 500 leads in a week to be able to run 40 to 50 appointments. And what I'm doing in advance is I'm planning my weeks out by day. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for example, is 9 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and build in my no-shows into my schedule. So I'm building in my no-shows and my appointments. So if I know I have 10 appointments, I can expect to sit with 50% of those and sell half. So that's like 4 appointments, 5 appointments, that you can actually sell every day. And if each one's $800, $1,200, you're submitting roughly, let's say on average, $4,000 a day. And you run, 3 days, 5 days a week, 4 to 5 days a week. That's like at least, that's at the bare minimum, 10K right there itself, 12K. So we're really we're planning a week out in advance. So I'm purchasing my leads, 2 to 3, 4 days in advance to make sure I have enough for that week or run day. And I'm purchasing a lot at one time.
Very good. And when you're looking for this particular kind of leads, what kind of leads do you run? I know that you run a lot of the CRM particularly, and you did mention if I get 500 leads and I'm expecting to book 10% of that, that's 50. We're talking about like turning 500, that we're turning 10% of the entire amount of leads into appointments, right? But what kind of leads are you running? And I'll start with that, then I might have a follow-up question.
Yeah, so I'm running the primarily 1 month and 3 months is what I run the most, and those are like $4 and $3 a piece. So if you buy 150 leads of 1 month is about $500. So I just double down on it. So for the average person, for the standard person, they're buying 150 leads for 15 appointments roughly. So if you just multiply it by 2 or 3, you're really just increasing your odds of submitting more business is kind of what we're just trying to do, because, we're trying to put big numbers up, right?
It's a numbers game, right?
Yeah.
So given the fact that that's really good that you focus most of your leads coming from the CRM, both 1 month and 3 months old leads, right? What are the expectations that you have for a brand new person coming in and the mindset to go in to the CRM to get leads from there, more or less? What's your mindset like? And also, how do you prepare someone coming in just to do only CRM?
The number one thing I would say is for someone that's brand new coming in is focus on those 1 month internet life leads, because really for 150, you spend like $500. And if you're brand new, you did the new agent boot camp, so you're gonna get 30% off of that. So you're really spending like $300 on
work spots.
Work spots too. So, you have your work spots, you have your boot camp, you're going to have tons and tons of discounts. So you're really going to spend like $300 on leads for 150. You literally have to sell one policy to make double your money, triple your money. So the other $200 that you need, so like say you need $500 to start, you spend $300 on your first set of leads, which is 150 leads for the 1 month with your 30% off. You take the other 100 and put it into a phone burner and a couple, local IDs, and you take the other 99 and you put it into your work spots. One, you'll be able to plug into the office. So you go in the office, use all their resources. 2, get around a bunch of top producers. You're going to have the phone burner platform to organize all your leads by zip code. And you're going to have some caller ID numbers, and you'll be able to leave voicemails, and it's super efficient. You'll be able to make $80 an hour. And then additionally, you'll have enough leads to be able to set 15 appointments to make sure that you can recuperate your money, pay your bills, and buy new leads to keep continuing to build your wealth.
Fantastic. How do you come up with this process? Do you come up with this yourself, or did someone teach you?
Zach helped me a lot with getting started and everything like that. But I think a lot of it was trial and error with the internet leads, just trying to figure out what like the sweet spot was, what the average is across all the agents, and stuff like that. And Easton running a bunch of appointments, so it's just like a combination of everybody working together to figure out what's the common thing of what's working for each person, and just average that across everybody, because nobody's special here. We're all doing the same thing. It's just about effort. So I think it really just comes down to, we kind of dialed into how many leads you actually need to get started and try to maximize the amount of money that you're putting into something and seeing the return. So, I just think it's super important for people to spend, that $300 to $500. So that way that they're not like overly worried about losing $1,000, $2,000 in their first week, that they do have some wiggle room to kind of make sure that they can make it and still pay all their bills and not have to worry about this massive investment.
Very good. I know that you're hiring everywhere in the nation, right, Calvin?
Mm-hmm.
If people want to reach out to you and contact you directly to work with you particularly? We're talking about people coming, let's say, from military backgrounds or so on that they can relate with you. What's a good way of contacting you? Phone number, Instagram, you tell me.
Yeah. So anybody can like just reach out to me. My phone number is 970-314-4037. And I work really good with, a lot of the military guys, like you said, like it's super easy to connect with and we get people going quick.
Amazing, very good. So the other thing I would like to talk with you a little bit about is to go over just the phone script that we actually discussed over the phone a couple of days ago because I think it's fabulous. I
Mm-hmm.
know that it's very efficient, and I would love for people, if it's okay with you, to share this, just to do a little role playing, so I can give you a quick call and we go through what the appointment would look like with a 1 month or 3 month internet lead. Sounds good?
Yes, sounds good. So,
Ring, ring.
hey, Pancho.
Yep.
Hey, this is Calvin at the benefits office here in Austin, Texas. Just getting back to you about that state-regulated life insurance form you sent in a few weeks ago. You put your birthday on here as January 1st, 1990, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Great. So I'm actually just the field underwriter that's assigned to you. My job is to come out and do that quick eligibility with you. I'm going to be in the area the next couple of days seeing about 15 other families. Are you still working full-time, retired, or disabled?
I'm working full-time.
Great. So what's the latest that you'll be home, usually?
The latest, I don't know, 6 p.m., I guess.
6
sometimes.
p.m. Okay. So are you married, single, widowed, or divorced?
I am single.
Single? Okay, great. So I actually have some time around 8:30, 9 o'clock tomorrow. I'll squeeze you in about 10, 15 minutes. Go ahead and grab a pen and paper for me real quick to write this down.
I do have, I have an appointment, actually, at dinner tomorrow around 8 p.m., but I could do it possibly before that.
Okay, great. So I either got like an 8:30, 8:45, or a 7:15. Which one works better for you?
The 7:15 will work out better.
Okay, great. Go ahead and grab a pen and paper and let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, great. My name's Calvin Wright. I'll be a short guy, big ears, a couple tattoos. I'll be there at 7:15. Now, the address I have on file, Pancho, is going to be 123 Main Street. Is that still a good address for you?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, is the numbers on the house or the mailbox?
The house.
Great. Is there any gates or anything I need to be worried about? Maybe a dog going to jump out at me?
I have 2 dogs, but you should be fine.
Okay, great. So I got you down on my calendar, 7:15 tomorrow. Like I said, I'll be short guy, big ears, a couple tattoos, and I'll be in a little black car. Should I park in the street or the driveway?
The street should be good, actually.
Awesome, Pancho. Well, I'll see you tomorrow at 7:15. Have a good night.
All right, bye. Excellent, Calvin. Super sharp, straight to the point. I know I threw you a couple of like curveballs here and there, but you adjusted really well. And what I really liked about your particular like conversation with the person is that you're showing urgency, you're in control of the call. And when I try to act a bit more busy than you, you're like, well, I'm pretty busy, I could fit you in here. And also how you close the call, particularly about making sure that I'm going to be there on time, that you're letting me know what you look like. You're letting me know, you're asking me where are the numbers of the house, where can you park the car. You're doing that to paint a picture that you are coming to my home and I should be expecting you here. So I really like how you did that. And when you do these kind of things and you have a lot of appointments, what's your show ratio more or less, Calvin, in those kind of appointments? Because that's a solid appointment. It's not a quick set.
So what I would always expect about, I would say, I just say like 50%, because I do run like 10 appointments a day, and I do only run those from like 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I pretty much give alternatives to my schedule. I don't deviate from it because I've noticed if it's before or after, there's not like it depends on what time it's going to be, So I really just treat it like a doctor's office, like Zach always says. It's a doctor's office. They need to select the time between your schedule. Like when you call the doctors and you're like, hey, I need an appointment. They'll be like, all right, the first available is this. And you're like, well, I can't do that. Well, okay, then you have this, So I just treat it the same way so that I don't have to mold to each person and make special exceptions to each person. So it's equal across the board. So I think that's super important for everybody, and new agents especially, is know your schedule and stick to your schedule. And I was super bad at that at first. And it's really important to make sure that you have your schedule planned out, because you need to maximize your time in the field and with your family at the same time. So if you keep a strict schedule, that creates a really good balance.
I love the fact that you do that. A very good advice that I got one time from Rob Richmond. I don't know if you know Rob. He's amazing. based in Dallas. He told me that he blacked out. I think it was either Thursday or Friday night that he always had his date night with his wife now. So when he was working really hard, at least she always knew and he always knew that that time was sacred. You could not put anything in there because it was very important to your own schedule. Do you have something like that? Do you plan your weekends in advance when you know you're going to take some time off with your girlfriend or something like that? How do you go about it? How do you go about work balance,
Yes, so
work-life balance?
definitely, that's 100% what I do. I generally speaking, Sunday is our day. So like Sunday is our day to do it, to like have time, go get coffee or whatever we do on Sundays. Now, if I know that I'm going out of town for the week, or I know I'm going to do a travel trip, or I'm going to do a power weekend, I'll just move that day to a different day of the week, like a Thursday or whatever. But I don't deviate. I always allow at least one day for family through the 7-day period. And it's really important to keep that work-life balance to be able to refresh your brain.
Fantastic. Um, then this is something that I'm also like, because that's the best thing about being independent, right? We're running our own schedule. If you want to take some time off, if you are like, I don't know, you will travel for like a full power weekend, as you mentioned, you were exhausted, you want to take the day off to disconnect, it's totally fine. No one's over your shoulder just tapping, hey, Calvin, what are you doing? Why are you not working? That's us. We're responsible. Now, my question is, when you do take time off, what are the things that Calvin Wright likes to do?
We go and play 9 holes of golf, and then grab some food, and then we'll just like kind of like go like leisure around like the town and come back, and then do movie or dinner or something like that, and just kick it for a while. That's our fun time is.
Amazing. Very good, very good, very good. Excellent, excellent. So I know that you're, of course, building your team. You're doing really well. I was at the office here in Denver a couple minutes ago, and Brian was there dialing hard, just making a bit of fun of Wiley as Wiley's getting to like wrapping up the day. But if you have to say something to your team in regards to how will you challenge your team to get better, what was one thing that you would tell your team to challenge them to improve themselves, to hit that 50 appointments or whatever their challenge is? Because some people, as you probably know, some things are challenging for one people, which are not the same for other people. So how will you go about challenging your team?
First of all, super thankful for my team. I have a bunch. There's a bunch of great people that I work with, and I love working with all of them, and they're super special in their own ways. But secondly, it'd be going to be consistency. So just maintaining a consistent schedule, and try to avoid as many ups and downs as a business as possible. It's a lot easier to do a steady climb than it is to hike a 14er and walk back down, and hike a 14er and walk back down, than it is to climb the spur the whole way up. So I would say keeping consistent. Don't go and run 50 appointments and then run 0 the next week just because you submit a bunch of business, and just keep staying on that steady climb, because it'll create a better work environment for everybody, and you'll set the right example for your people that you work with.
Excellent. Do you do something specific like every week, like run a team meeting or something like that, or have a chat with people particularly to see what's going on? And we have a question from Lorenzo, which I'm going to ask in a second, but is there anything that you're doing particularly with them specifically?
We just started doing team meetings. Before, it was a lot of one-on-one individual stuff, because we have a lot of people in contracting and new agents, and everybody was all in different places. A lot of part-time people, a lot of people not like coming out of college, or some just random stuff all over the place, so nobody could get on the same. We couldn't get like a solid schedule going, but we just started doing that because we got like at least 10 writers now, just like staying consistent. So we're starting to work on mass communication and pushing information out equally. And I'm doing a lot of like personalized phone calls with individuals to try to help bring them up to that 40K a month producer level. Brian's definitely on it. He's hit it already. So he's up there. He's ready to start training people. He's ready to start building. So it's just been great. He's been amazing to work with, and he's going to be a huge leader in this group.
I have no doubt he's really good at it, and with his early success as well. So we have a couple of questions here. What is this company exactly? We have here a question from Christian. Christian, this company is Family First Life. You can find us pretty much anywhere. We're on every single social media platform. I'm gonna go and touch a little bit on the question that Lorenzo ask here, we have a what extra steps, Calvin, do you take on the phone to solidify your appointments if you feel like they might no show you? And he says that he's been booking more appointments, but lately, but he have no like issue with no shows clearly.
Yeah, so the biggest thing is going to be identifying yourself and making kind of a joke about it, like, hey, saying, hey, I got big ears, I got big eyes, I got a long head of hair, or whatever it is, so that you can paint like a visual representation of yourself before you get there, so they can expect you and it's not just a name on a piece of paper. So really identifying key points in yourself to paint the picture to the human that you're talking to on the phone about what it's going to look like when you get there and who you are, and then making sure that they write it down so that they are not confused at all and not just nodding their head saying yes, 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 and then walk away and never forget about it. So if you're really worried about someone, 9 times out of 10, if someone's willing to write it down, they're probably going to show up. And if they're not willing to write it down, then I would double book it.
Exactly, very good point. Last week, I had an appointment in New Mexico where I remember I told him over the phone, please make sure to write down my information, blah, blah. And when I got to the appointment, sat on the table, I looked to the right and here was the paper, Francisco, phone number, insurance, 5 p.m. So it's very strong. It's a very good advice, particularly for you, Lorenzo, and for any agent coming in here, because it helps solidify those appointments and help you get that no-show rate to lower a lot and to get in the door to see how we can help families. Very good. So that's how you challenge your teams. I appreciate you sharing that, Calvin. It's very important, especially the brand new people. Let's transition now to how do you challenge yourself to like continue improving. I know that you have very good examples above you that you follow. Like Zach just became an integrity partner at 26 years old, which is a huge thing. But how does Calvin Wright challenges himself to get to the next level? Tell me a little bit.
So like my biggest thing lately has just been trying to knock down that Hall of Fame before the December is the biggest milestone. And I consistently remember that every day, like every week. Every Thursday I'm always checking with Jesse, and we have a friendly competition on who's gonna reach it first. So I challenge others to link up with someone else that they, are competitive, that are like-minded like them, or that you can relate to, and then you can create a friendly competition within each other. So for example, Jesse and I, we have like a $500 bet on who's going to make it first. So if you just make it fun and you set that goal and set that standard for yourself when you wake up every day, knowing that's the standard and don't deviate from it, then that's the best way to continue to grow and continue to move forward and continue to climb. It's like waking up and making your bed every day.
Yeah, well, you probably know a lot about that coming from the military, right?
Yeah, it's the best way. You wake up and make your bed, and that's how you start your day, and you keep it the same every single time. You create those reputations, and you'll get better and better each time.
Excellent. When you wake up and it's one of those hard days to make that happen, how do you go through it? Because those are the challenging days. How do you make it happen?
So I think the biggest thing is like it comes back to schedule. So like if you wake up in the morning and it's like it's gonna be a tough day or whatever, you just got to remember that there's other people counting on you to show up, and you already had set up these appointments, and you had already bought these leads, and you had already made promises to yourself and your teammates that you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do. And if you deviate from that or you fail, you're letting a bunch more than just yourself down. So if you constantly remember that the people are watching, even if they're not saying anything, they're still watching, then it should be enough motivation for you to get up and still keep moving and keep the train going.
Excellent. Very good. Last question that I have in regards to challenges, Calvin, how do you challenge your clients when you go and sit down and you understand for what I understand, you're very customer focused, trying to find the best thing for them. But when you find that one thing that they needed, that if you are that person that lives without putting that protection in place, that you're like, man, if they don't wake up tomorrow, it's on you that you didn't work hard enough to challenge them to make sure you did everything in there. How do you go about challenging your clients to make sure that something, if they do need it, it's put in place?
My biggest thing is like being super direct and upfront with the clients initially during the financial inventory. So really just asking those hard questions that people don't like asking to prevent objections in the end. And if I'm still coming up with those objections, I challenge them until they literally decline the coverage to saying, hey, I'm not doing it. It doesn't matter what you say. That is what it is, which doesn't happen very often. So it's really putting all of those hard questions up front, like who do you bank with? What are how do you do your monthly expenses? Breaking down their budget all the way down to the T, so you know how much money they have left over, and going through all their medications, even if you make them go get their medications and they don't want to. Making not you're telling them to do these things so that you can better assist them and better place them in the proper program. So it's really important that you do these things, because if you don't, you're going to set the appointment up for failure, and you're going to set the client up for failure, and ultimately you're going to fail yourself. So you need to make sure that you're asking those tough questions, following the system, and making sure you're placing those objections up front so that you don't come into those types of scenarios.
But I have to think about it, Calvin.
Yeah, so does the insurance carrier. So the good news is that we're going to have to submit a request for coverage today. So that way we can even figure out if you're going to be eligible in the first place, because if you're not eligible, this is pointless and it doesn't even matter anyways. So we're going to go ahead and submit a request for coverage. So go ahead and grab your ID and your checkbook.
Fantastic. Straight to the point. If they say no at that point in time and you keep asking questions, if you like something that one time Mr. Patton brought up, and also Andy yesterday, like last week, he mentioned the importance of understanding that why at the beginning really well, right? Asking a lot of questions at the beginning, those hard questions. So Lorenzo has another question here that falls in, like ties in with this really well. It says, when you started, how did you overcome asking the uncomfortable questions in the home? Because if I'm gonna answer what I think first, and then I want to see what you think about it, Colin. I want to hear your opinion as well. Lorenzo, that's a very good question. How do you overcome asking uncomfortable questions? It is your job. It is your job to ask those questions, to care about the client. If you don't care about the client, if you don't ask enough questions, you don't understand the reality of what's going to happen if they pass away tomorrow. So you're doing them a favor by you asking all those tough questions early on, in my opinion, because it helps show them that you care, that you truly care about finding the right coverage for them, and that's why you're doing it. And if you do get pushback in that point in time, it's possibly sometimes a trust thing. They barely know you. You just walk into their home. Some things that come in handy there is like showing your state license if you have it handy, or anything that to show that help them feel a bit more comfortable with yourself. But setting the expectations, setting the right standards, that's what I would do in order to overcome asking those questions. There is a reason why they fill out the form requesting the coverage. There's the reason why they say, yes, come on into my home when you call them. And now there's a reason for you to ask all those questions to make sure that you find the right coverage for them. That's how I see it. Calvin, anything to add on that?
I think you nailed it. That's great. Yeah, I think that if you're not asking the hard questions, you're just really setting it up for an objection later. You're just teeing them up for an objection. So if you just go ahead and ask it now, and just know that even if they were not to give you the answer, that the chances of you actually running into them again in the future is probably pretty low. So, you set the right tone ahead of time, it will really help.
Awesome. Amazing. Very, very good. So these numbers look amazing. Everybody see numbers coming in and out every single week. And people may think this is a very easy thing to do. Is it easy? Is it simple? Is it hard? What is the truth behind this business, Calvin?
I think that it's a really simple business, but it takes a lot of hard work and consistency, and willing to do things that others aren't. So I definitely think that the numbers are 100% real, and everybody has bank statements to show. But if you have to be willing to work and be willing to try new things and be willing to do the extra things that people aren't, because if you're making under 100,000 a year, you're not doing anything special that other people are doing. It's just, you're doing the what society expects of you, really. Anybody making, like, I would say, like 200, 250 plus, you're really probably working a lot more than another person. How many hours a week do you work, Pancho?
Oh man, probably 60 plus, easy.
Easy 60 plus, but you're making a ton of money. So in reality, it's worth it because you're working hard and you're getting rewarded very high. So I think it's the same exact way. Like if you want to, put 20K in a week or 40K in a month, expect to put the effort in because it's 100% effort business, and that's all it is. It's running the numbers, putting in the work. And, I do 10, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. That's 80, 90 hours a week. And, it shows. So I think if you just repeat the same thing, you shouldn't have an issue.
Excellent, excellent. So I have two challenges for yourself, Andy. Andy joined in, and I made him do this last week. Calvin, how's your Spanish going, man?
Oh,
How's your español?
None at all. I'm very illiterate.
Very good, very good. So you're just gonna have to repeat a phrase that I'm gonna say, okay?
Okay.
And si no es ahora, ¿cuándo?
¿Cuándo?
Desafía este momento.
Desafía mi momento.
Desafía este momento.
One more time.
Desafía este momento.
Este momento.
Excellent. So that desafía este momento in Spanish means challenge this moment, right? And it goes back to what I'm trying to bring with this here. Like, it's not how we're challenging yourself every day, how you're challenging your team, how you're challenging your clients, is how you're challenging every single moment, right? It's about how we show up, how we choose to show up to challenge ourselves to be better. So desafía este momento is kind of the mantra that we're trying to bring in here for everyone to do. Hey, people didn't think that 50 appointments a week was possible. We show that that's definitely possible. People didn't think that was possible to make 30K weeks. Jared just did it last week, which some other people have done, but that's people that are very recent to the business. Yeah. So it's a matter of challenging every moment when we have, do the best that we can. And the last challenge I have for you is that I need you to select someone for me to do an Instagram live session in a couple of weeks from now. So who will you challenge so we can send them a quick tag after we're done with this Instagram live to let them know that they're up? Who do you think is going to be very valuable? If it's a boy or girl, it doesn't matter. That it will be very valuable for people to that can come here, pay attention, listen to this, and they can get some value out of it.
I think someone that's up and coming would be Cam Russell. I think that he's just been exploding lately. I think that he'd be a really good person to get on here and to see what he's doing because he's been crushing it and driving all over the place. His flight got canceled from Columbus and he drove to Alabama in the same night. So I think his work ethic is crazy, and I think he's been crushing it.
Incredible. So Cam Russell, you being called up. I don't know if he's watching right now. I don't think so, but I'm gonna make sure that Calvin Wright just set you up for another challenge with Pancho. I want to hear a little bit about him. I want to know, what do we want to know about Cam Russell, Calvin? What is one thing he listens on the car? What do you want to know?
We want to know. We want to know how many times a day that he's hitting the gym, and how does he work that into his 30 appointments a week, 40 appointments a week.
Yeah, I know. He's getting pretty big, huh? He's about to explode right? Properly. Amazing. Well, Calvin, thank you so much again for joining me today. I hope you had some good fun. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge, your success. Congratulations. One more time, if someone wants to come and work with you, how they can get a hold of you, because you are killing it. You're a great example, and you only been in this business for 6 months.
I would say contact me at 970-314-4037. I got Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything. So I'm 100% reachable. Or you can reach out to my recruiter, Aaron.Peterson at FFLforefront.com.
FFL fantastic. Well, Calvin, thank you so much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure. If you need anything, you know where to find me. I'm just around the corner, all right?
Thanks, Pancho. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. This was a blast.
Take care, man. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.